everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get Wealthy with me with the Modern Savvy CPA. If you don't know, I'm the Modern Savvy CPA. And my name is Sharon. My actual name is Sharon. And we are here today with Gabby. And before we start with Gabby, I just want to remind you guys what our podcast is about. Our podcast is about storytelling and finance. So it is basically learning about finance through everyone's story. It's called Get Wealthy with Me because it's my story about my money journey. And all of us have a money journey. It just depends on where on the journey we're at and what we choose to do on the journey. We don't have a choice about being on the journey. We do have a choice on how the journey goes, which road we take, and what's happening. So Gabby is actually could be my daughter, number one. But I'd have to have had her when I was like 5. But she has been inspirational to me. And that also tells you that it doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are. You can inspire each other. And within a community, it's so much stronger and you could get so much more done and learn so much from each other within the community than you can alone.
Oh, yes, I agree with that. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, Gabby. So, other than her being one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen on the outside, she's also super, super beautiful on the inside.
You're going to make me blush on camera. And I did
You
my
guys
makeup
make me
today
blush all the time, so
payback.
payback. Gabby actually, with her husband and some recent partners, right?
Yes.
Have a set. I would say a set, right? How would I say that?
Well, we have a multi-location.
Multi-location. That's the word.
Yes, we were drilling that vision for the whole 2024. So now I can, every time somebody asks me, I can just click and be like, multi-location.
Multi-location MedSpa, which has been, I don't know, it just, to me, MedSpas in the last 5 years have totally exploded.
They did. And we, as a company, when we started, we didn't even think about MedSpa space. When we started, my husband had a dream. It all starts with a dream or a story.
And your husband is a doctor, right?
Yes,
he has those initials behind his name.
Yes, he did.
That he put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money for.
And
right?
years and, some gray hair here and there. But here we are. Yeah. He's very passionate about particularly functional medicine. So he was like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore in the regular healthcare system. I really want to set out to help people. And I was fresh off the boat as we spoke. Like
fresh off the plane.
Oh, fresh off the plane, you might say. And I was completely lost here. So I was like, well, let me help you. I have some business background. Let's see what we can do. So we set out to solve some problems, because I always say I never set out to build a business. I set out to solve problems, and that came later. And we created a concierge medicine practice. But then we noticed that the MedSpa space, or the aesthetic medicine space, is very big in the area, so we ventured into that. So then it transformed into a great morph of aesthetics and functional medicine, which seems to be working great, because when people are getting better physically, mentally, and they're internally, they tend to start paying attention to their looks.
A domino effect,
it's a
right?
domino effect.
Yeah.
It's a whole holistic approach.
Right.
So it really evolved into that beautiful space. When he's doing what he loves, he's helping people get healthy. We even have a sign actually that corresponds with the title of the podcast, because our sign says health is the new wealth.
Right.
So that's our definition of wealth there in the office.
But that's true though, because wealth comes with many different things, right? So for me, wealth is not just money. Money is a very small part of it. It's your time, your health, and to me, though, the wealth and health goes actually together. So if you want to talk, if you're not in control of your journey, then your money journey, your health journey gets messed up too, because you're not in control. That affects it,
Yes.
Chala and I was talking, and I just did a video on how many of lately we had that guy that was assassinated or terrorist or whatever you want to call it in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that New Year's Day? I don't know what happened, how many people. And if you look back at him, one of the reasons he's kind of like got so emotionally swayed or off the track is they started off with having money problems, and then the money problems hit the marital problems, and then you're stressed about that, and
Yes.
you can't get yourself together. So all of it intertwines and it's a domino effect.
It is all a domino effect. And wealth for me was always that freedom to.
The freedom.
For example, my husband just broke his leg in Poland when we were there visiting our family, and the freedom to just change the flight or go there without an insurance and get a scan, get it checked.
Right.
The freedom to do that, I was thinking about it and thinking about you at that moment because we talk about money a lot and wealth and building wealth. And I'm like, that's wealth for me.
That's wealth, yes.
That's the moment where we needed help and we could have gone anywhere in the world and we would be safe.
You'd be safe.
That feeling of safety is a really valuable thing
Right.
to have. And when I think about wealth, I don't think about money. Of course, money is a big component of that. Without money, we wouldn't be able to provide and
Right.
to secure that. But it was just not a wake up call, but a little reminder. I might say.
Yeah, why you work so hard for certain
Exactly.
things, right? And why wealth building is important, because it leads to financial freedom.
Yes.
And we're not saying that you wait for that stage, because you can be free at any point. And the hold you have on money is where the freedom comes about. But so if you're grateful for where you are, you have ambition to where you're going, the freedom will come with that type of a situation. So that's why part of what I preach is financial freedom and empowerment, because
Yes.
the freedom, the money gives you the freedom, and then that empowers you, so.
Exactly, because when you don't have that, I still remember when I didn't have money.
Right.
There was times when I didn't have money, and I didn't grow up rich or wealthy by any means. We were doing okay, but I saw my parents struggling, working very hard. So I remember as a kid, my only dream was to go to the grocery store and not look at the prices and just get everything I want from the shelf. Now I know it's not that smart
Yes,
when you want to build.
But when you're a little girl and you don't have something, you know what my dream was when I was a little girl?
What was it?
So I'll tell you, because you guys heard Gabby. She tells you that she grew up in Poland, and she has. How long have you been in this country?
4 years now.
4 years, yeah. So you see, her English is really good. But she grew up in Poland, but now she's one of us. She's not going back. And Ed is not going to make her go back.
No. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I found my community here. I found my tribe. So
So I actually grew up in New York, but my parents came from Guyana, and I was really little when they came here. So Guyana is in South America, and it's the only English speaking country, because it was colonized by the British, and we didn't have any running water. We did not have electricity. We did not have a refrigerator. So I had never seen a telephone, a TV, or anything like that. So my mom used to make coconut oil. Okay, so my dad was a teacher, and he didn't make enough money to support our country, because it was a dictatorship and it was very unstable. So he didn't make enough money. So my mom had to get her own business, and she was an orphan. So she did not have a family, like, really. She grew up with 10 kids, and her mom died when she was like 2, so she doesn't know her mom and all of that stuff. So she did not know how to read, write, anything. But she started her own business making coconut oil.
wow.
And with coconut oil, you need a lot of water. It's a whole process. And, I know they talk a lot about it now in America. It's like a
Now it's a
big
big thing.
And my youngest son, she still makes coconut oil in little areas, because in Florida we have a lot of coconuts.
Yeah.
And she rubs him down with it. He's 6'1".
Oh, I love
He
it.
might not like me saying that. Oops, Mark, I'm sorry. But she still does that. But that's what's her business. So I had to go get the water. So we had to put them in barrels, right? Carry the water. So I have to carry the buckets. And I have to go get, like, we live in a street. So we lived in the third house, but the water is only on the front part of the street. So I have to come up to the front of the street, get the water by buckets, however many hours, fill them in the barrels. I had a little bald spot in the middle of my head
Oh my goodness.
because and this is like 7 years old.
Yeah.
So I used to put the bucket on my head. So the dream that I had was for America to have running water.
Wow. See, as simple as that.
It's as simple to as
Look where
that.
you are right now.
So I mean, we talk about a lot of the problems about our country, right?
Mhm.
That, like, everybody has an opinion, and a lot of the times we we only hear the loudest people, right?
Yes.
And to me, and my opinion is that the loudest people are not necessarily the most people, right? So you hear the loudest people on one spectrum of our political system,
Yeah.
and you hear the loudest people on the other spectrum. I'm still in the belief that most of us are in the middle, and we're the most rational
The
in the
exceptions
middle.
are not making the rules.
Yes,
So,
but they are making the rules
well,
because they're
yeah,
loud.
well, true. What loud exceptions are making the rules.
Loud exception. But you know, and I'm not gonna say that this is a perfect country or this is a perfect world, but it is the one place that if you have the drive and the consistency, there we go back to the saying is where there's a will, there's a way, right?
I got chills because I literally say that all the time. There's no place in the world like United States of America if you're a hardworking person and you set out to do something and you wake up every day with a goal, with a mission to make money, you can do whatever you want here. You can achieve whatever. You can be whoever you want to be. It's not like that in back in Europe where I grew up. And by any means, these are developed countries, but the system is a little different. They're not gonna let you, jump. There was a saying in my family. I don't remember who said that. Maybe my dad. That if you're born under the table, you're not gonna jump on the table ever. Which basically means you kind of stay in your lane when it comes to income. If you're born into a family with a certain income, you can get a little bit, and there's exceptions obviously that are doing great for themselves, but and then you get to America and you're like, the sky is the limit. Not even.
So that's, I like that saying, and tell that I don't like that saying, but the saying
Yeah.
is so true. And we forget, yes, those are developed countries. I come from I mean, not having any running water and electricity is, that tells you something. But it's where the one thing about America that I was always proud of. So I did all of my schooling here. So I know all of American history, and I understand the political system, the economic system, all of those things, the three branches of government. And the
Yes.
one thing that I was most proud of in America, and I'm still proud of, is that we have checks and balances. We check on each other. And as humans, we're defaulted to do wrong things if we're tempted. Adam and Eve, I mean, that was the first tempted people that did wrong things,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not expecting people not to do that. But if we check on each other, we can change each other's narratives. So one of the things with America that it does, like, again, I'm not gonna say that it's not hard.
Oh, it's terribly hard.
I'm not saying it's not difficult, right?
I'm not saying you're gonna come here and you're gonna
Yeah,
all of a
people-
sudden just
Sometimes
there's
people
dollars
think,
on the tree.
Yeah, they literally think you're shaking the tree in the back. Like, seriously, people who lives in other country, they literally are like, you guys have money trees in the back.
All you can get in Florida is a coconut hitting in your
Yes,
dumb
you
head.
have lots of coconut
Like,
shooting you. Yeah, but there's if you have the will,
and
the path is here for you. So, as opposed to where in other culture you have two classes, you have the very uber wealthy and the super dirt poor. We have our middle class here.
Yeah.
So that's the part of the world that I'm making this podcast for, is that I don't want that middle class to get smaller. I want to grow our middle class. And I believe that can be done through financial education and empowering people. And I am telling you that, if I was just talking to Chala, if you actually look at what my finances look like, you wouldn't believe that I've done what I've done with my life, because we did not make salary of a lot ever. It's what you take your salary to.
yes.
So I always say, okay, I'm going to make the first $5, and then that $5 have to start working for me now. So
Exactly.
the sweat is here, but then
Well,
that
if it's
has
not working for it, it's losing value.
it's you losing value.
In today's times, you're gonna drop $5 on the floor. By the time it's on the floor, it's gonna be $1. Like you
Yeah,
can't do that.
absolutely. So that's the thing about America is that there's those ways we could you can find the way. It might be everybody's journey is different, right? So
Yes.
that's why we talk about the money journey. And everybody's like, oh, well, how are you going to have a podcast just talking about money? I'm like, because all of us, money is part of our life. So we have a money journey. What the journey is differs for everybody. So um, that's kind of like my love of America is that you can do anything you want. If my dad could come here with $100 in his pocket and have educated, smart, wealth building children, because that's what we are. Um, you can come here and have your business, your husband, you guys can do it together now with building partners,
Yes.
being entrepreneurs, which is what you guys
Yes.
are actually the biggest risk takers, but it's calculated risk.
Well, I don't know how good we are at math though, because when I checked the statistics the other day, only 80% of new businesses survive. And I was just talking to one of my employees today because she was giving me some statistics too. She texted me something. I'm like, listen, we had 20% chance, 20% that this is gonna
So
work.
80% of businesses
Something like that.
die. Is that what
In
it
the
is?
first year.
In the
They
first
die.
year. Okay, well you're already past that, so
I'm
we're
past
good.
that.
Yeah,
It's been
we're
30
good.
months.
But
Good,
it's
good and steady.
I know that, right? But then you have to look at the kind of business that you're looking at. When I say calculated risk, right? So an entrepreneur, anybody could open a business today, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can go on Sunbiz in the state of Florida. We can go on Sunbiz,
Put a name.
put in, make up our name, get our tax ID number. We're a business owner.
Get a
People
business credit card without a limit.
and I hear people tell me all the time on their resume, "Oh, I own 5 businesses." Okay, that means nothing to me, right? How successful are your business? Like, what are you doing? What are the ideas
And
that
the
you're doing?
CPA in you. Show me your numbers.
Put up or shut up,
Yeah,
right?
right?
So, because I know how easy it is to just open a business. You
Mm-hmm.
owning a business means nothing to me, right? It's the calculated risk of the business. You guys realized, well, first of all, you have the education behind you,
Yes.
you have the business background, and your husband has the medical background.
Yes.
You guys with and let me tell you, some of my, no offense to your husband, but some of my
No.
worst clients are doctors and
I've
attorneys.
heard that a lot. And I've heard that right after we got married. I'm like,
Oh
oh
no.
boy, what did I get myself into? But he turns out to be the exception of the rule.
Yeah, but he got you.
He got me. That's true as well.
So
But
you're the business sense. So those are the business that I personally have seen successful is where you either have a good person managing it that understands business value, that understands how to run a business,
mm-hmm.
the marketing behind it, how to optimize your spending, like all of those good stuff, right? It takes money to make money. So investing in the right things.
So it's interesting how we balance each other out because I'm the one that wants to spend money to make money, and he's the one just like holding on to the numbers.
Yep.
I remember terrible times in the business when we would have terrible months, and I would be like, "But we need that new TV because patients, when they're waiting, they just bored in that room, yada yada yada." And he would like cut me off. So we balance each other very well in that sense because then he would have like dirty chairs in the consult room because we didn't want to spend $100 there, but then I would go crazy and spend $3,000 for a marketing venture that might have not even worked. So he's like pulling me back a little bit.
So you yin to your yang.
Yeah.
So those decisions though have to be thought out, right?
Yes.
Like what are you going to spend your money on? But so like I've said before, for me it's not spending, it's investing. So when you're investing this money, what are you looking for? What is your prospective return?
The return, exactly.
Right? So we're going to talk about something that is very new to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's marketing.
Oh, I love that. That was new to me when we started.
I
We made
know,
so many mistakes.
I know. You and I, so for our audience, I have to, full disclosure, Gabby and I sit on a leadership board for a local women's group within our chamber in our area down here in Florida. So part of our job is to we do events, and our women's group is not just networking for our businesses. It has three components. It is networking, but that's our third component. It's actually philanthropy, which is giving back to our society,
It's
because I
basically in the
totally believe in
core.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have women supporting women. That's why we've grown so close with each
Mm-hmm.
other. It's just like, it's not just working on philanthropy. We're supporting each other. We're friends. After this, we're still gonna be friends. She's stuck with me. And then the networking just comes organically. I totally believe in organic networking because you're not forced to do stuff with that,
So see, that's another thing that I really like that I didn't know about business before because I own my own business in Poland, but it was very much isolated. When I came here, I was thinking about all the ways. Listen, I went on Bumble and put my filter, being married, put my filter on
I
meeting
thought Bumble was
friends.
only to meet.
No, we can meet friends there
Oh,
too.
okay, that's new.
So and
I
then
need to go on
I would
Bumble.
meet friends because I wouldn't have no friends here, right? I would meet friends, go out for coffee, whatever, and then be like, and I have that business by the way if you need some talks, like to that point. And then I discovered networking. Like there's so many beautiful groups, but WoW is just another level. So I'm a firm believer on that organic networking, and women are the best at it. We just love to talk first. But second, we're just so supportive because I went to those B2B 7 a.m.
Yeah.
First of all, who does a meeting at 7 a.m. in the morning? Like I can't
Oh,
even say
you know me very well, Gabby. I had to film one
you would never
podcast at
do
nine
that to
o'clock
me.
in the morning. When I sent Chala the oh, okay, he's gonna come at 9 o'clock in the morning. She said at 9 o'clock. She said, "Is that morning or evening? Are you
That's
sure
funny.
about this?" That's how much she knows me. It's like, yeah, it's in the morning. He has to leave right afterwards.
I do the
So
same thing.
okay.
Yeah. So that didn't last. That was very short. I went to one meeting exactly for those. And it's a very different kind of networking when you do that. You go into a group of 50 people, you're so intimidated. Nobody really wants to get to know you. And when you get into the right networking groups, it's a game changer. Everybody is so warm. It's a community
Hmm.
over anything else.
So that's kind of my way of networking is with the B2B groups. I think that a lot of the times, no offense, some people are great at it. That's awesome. But for me, I've been invited to a couple, but I never really joined any
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't do the force referrals.
Yes.
Because at one point I could have three people for you,
Yeah.
right? And then in the other, I might not have people for a whole year, and then all of a sudden I have 10 people for you. So it's kind of like what organic relationships you're forming, and you
Yeah.
have to build that relationship before you start reaping from them most of the times, right?
Relationship is the keyword here
Yeah.
because I read a study just the other day. I think Harvard University did that most of the sales in general very very soon will be relationship based. People don't want to buy from salesy people anymore. We have enough of those automated messages or people calling us. They cold calls.
Cold
They call us,
calling.
yeah,
Yeah.
cold calling. People like to buy from people. That's why we have to develop relationships in business. And but then these business people were becoming your clients, and the other way around, they're referring people.
Right.
So word of mouth, it's big, and I think some entrepreneurs they underestimate that. They tend to isolate themselves and just look into marketing,
Well,
which is
networking is a form
important,
of marketing,
exactly.
right?
But like
So
I mean, digital marketing, the big
yeah, the
scary
big scary
marketing.
stuff. Yeah. And I mean, so I mean, I think it's a combination of things with me, but
Yes.
I'm learning because like you with your prior business, being a CPA, a tax CPA is very isolated, especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing your own business, right? So I never had to do much networking at all. I was raising my kids. My networking was on the soccer field, at
Yeah.
PTA meetings, that kind of thing, which was fine too, but it wasn't the focus for me. But it was like mainly like, so developing like real networking skills came a little bit afterwards. But I realized that I didn't couldn't do the groups, like the official groups and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So networking is a part of marketing, but not until I started the Modern Savvy CPA in 2023 that I was able to understand more about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So you went back to say you said something that I think is very interesting, and that's the word of mouth, right?
Yes.
And getting to know people.
Yes.
So I do think that that's something that's important, but I think that there's different ways to build your credentials.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm learning more about the brand building.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're in charge of brand and marketing, and you actually, I respect all of the stuff that you do for your business because you are thinking long term,
Yes, we're
right?
thinking from like 10,000 feet level. Basically, at this point, we have our board meetings. We're like, okay, guys, now we gotta go there to take a look at it, how we
Mhm.
want it. And that exercise helped me a lot to understand that you gotta take a deep breath and don't think about the day to day and paying the bill tomorrow. Just
Yeah.
go up
Have
and
have
take
your
it.
plan
Yes.
and then work
And
with
your
it.
vision and
Yeah.
your
Mhm.
mission statement and everything, and work with it, work around it, and everything you do has to be intentional.
It has to be intentional. So let's go there. I am going to talk about intentional again. One of the main things that I teach is intentional money management, right?
Yes.
So, uh, um, I don't know if you know this about the way I teach personal finance or the my thoughts on my workshops are on personal finance. I don't ask you to prepare a budget. So we're going to talk about personal finance, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to come into how your business finance works, right? So I say you have to track your last 3 months
Mm-hmm.
and let's see what you did. And then, because I believe most of that is mindless if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
been tracking it before, right? And then we look at it and we're like, okay, this is what it is. What do you want to do, right? This is what you did.
And let's make the adjustments. Let's be
Well,
intentional
I
about
want to
it,
know,
right?
do you want to spend $400 a month on coffee? Because that's how much you've spent.
Oh, don't even start because I'm gonna calculate in my head right
You
now.
are
That's
going
not
to calculate it. I'm gonna
like,
leave
oh
you out of
boy, she
here with
called me out of here.
something.
I know.
I'm gonna take. So if you spend, because you have so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
You spend $400 a month on coffee. Do you want to do that? I am not of the deprivation mentality, and I don't know if your immigrant background is on like that because my immigrant background is like that. We're all about deprivation. You have to deprive yourself in order for it to be worth it.
Yes, and saving and saving and
And
saving
saving.
and saving and
I'm not
saving.
about that.
No, saving doesn't work.
Saving is important, but it has to be invested at the rate of inflation or above.
Thank you.
It then
So
it,
the
then
saving,
it
as we think
works.
about it, as we historically think about it, that doesn't work. You
No.
don't put it. You don't in Poland. We used to have that saying, "You don't put it in your sock," because our
Oh, we
grandmas.
have
they used to-
mattresses.
You have mattresses. We have socks.
We have mattresses.
Which
That's where
makes
our people put money in. Okay. So, so you have this amount of money, right?
Mhm.
And you get to decide. So if you spend $400 on coffee per month, and that's what you want to continue to do, then it's fine. But you need to understand and you need to do it intentionally. If you're doing that now, you know that's how much you're spending. If you continue
And
with
that
this
coffee wouldn't
habit,
taste as good.
that's why looking at things and tracking things and paying attention
Yes.
is important. So, but you got to intentionally decide. You can't do it mindlessly because most of us, we ignore what we're doing, right?
Oh yeah.
We pretend we're not doing it, but we're doing it.
Hmm.
We're just lying to ourselves that we're.
It's
you know,
incredible how human brain can like work around it. We're just
we
gonna.
work around
I
it.
deserve it. I had a hard week. It's Monday 6 p.m. So
It's
very long week. No, so I was waiting for him. Like, did she not get my jug?
Yes, it's Monday 6
Oh,
p.m.
gotta treat
a hard
myself.
week. Yeah, treat myself after 8 hours. But I'm not saying not to treat yourself, but there's gonna be a 6 p.m. every day,
Exactly.
and so you can decide. Okay, if I want to treat myself, I'll treat myself 2 times a week. Maybe not Monday 6 p.m. or maybe that's a hard day. Monday 6 p.m. works for
It
me.
was a long day. Listen. But yes, being intentional about that.
Right.
That's all it.
That's
all
what
it
you
is.
want, right?
Yeah.
So, but let's say that one of your goals are to save for a house.
Mm-hmm.
That's $500 less a month you're gonna have that you're put in a money market account to save for your house, or put in the S&P 500 that's gonna earn 10% interest rate.
Yeah.
You don't for the time. So opportunity cost, right? If the opportunity that you choose is coffee, you're choosing not to do the house.
Yeah.
And like I've explained to everybody else, your priorities can all be there, but only one can be number one.
Well, that's well said. And one thing that I was thinking when you were saying that right now about the house saving and everything, I don't know if I approve of that, but it's not work life balance. But hey, life is off balance all the time. There's no such
So
thing. Like,
explain.
so I was thinking about because whenever how I would approach it, and that was my whole entire life. Turns out my husband would do the same thing. So instead of not treating myself, I would just pick up another gig. And I still do it. If we have a challenging month where, because we're doing a lot of investments on for our personal
Right.
family, right? Apart from the business, apart from everything. And we calculate, hey, we're going to need like, let's say $1,000 for the next 3 months. We're going to need that money. I'm going to pick up a gig. I was a
You're gonna
copywriter.
get a
I'm
side
gonna
hustle.
side hustle, but it's just
That's a good
you know,
point.
a lot of people in this space they always talk about balance and adding to your plate when my schedule is already filled. It's not nice, but hey, this is the only country in the world where we can do that.
You can do that. But what I'm saying is not to treat yourself. I
Oh yeah.
believe in treating yourself. Like that's why I'm telling you, my immigrant mentality will tell me I need to deprive myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe in depriving. Even though I was barely saving for my retirement, but I that was a priority, was just not number one. So you can have 100 priorities, but only one can be number one.
Well, when you think about it, that goes even a little bit deeper into your mental health because that treating yourself, that little component, that little coffee is going to help you get through the day. So if that coffee is important to you and you're going to suck at work for the whole day if you don't do that and you're not going to make that money, then what's the point, right?
I like what you're saying, but why can't you make that coffee 5 days a week
well, I can make
in
it at
the
home.
office
Yes. Like I can
or
make
at
an adjustment,
home?
but
Or maybe you decide on getting Americano instead of a cappuccino,
oh, that
because you can also
my body
adjust.
decided for me. I cannot stand milk.
No.
So
Oh,
that's
well,
a
then even
that's
if
$1 savings right there.
if you can't stand milk, then go black, right? But I'm not saying not to treat yourself, but 7 days a week is a habit.
Yeah.
And if you decide that that's a habit that's important to you, then it's okay. But that just means that's an important habit. You have to sacrifice another something
Something. I
that has to
sacrifice my
go.
time, for example.
You sacrifice your time with the side
Yeah.
hustle, right? To have, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it 7 days a week. You just have to know that this is an important thing for you and you want to do it. But don't lie to yourself and later say, oh, I'm broke. I don't know why.
I don't know
I
why
can't buy a
that's my
house.
favorite thing. Like I don't know why.
I
Like
have no
you're the
idea
cause. You're the
why.
primary cause. So you gotta sit down, look in the mirror.
I understand that people are broke all the time, right? And I accept that. I just don't accept you're broke and you don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is freaking ridiculous. You need to know why you're broke. You're the one that makes your money and you're the one that spends your money.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you broke?
Tell me. You tell me. So your first meeting would be like, you tell me. What did you do?
That's why I have people track themselves for the last 3 months.
Well, that's a great tool. I think it's an amazing.
This
tool.
is what you did. Is this
Yeah.
what you wanted to do? So, like going back to the coffee
Mhm.
scenario, if you're like, okay, I'm okay with spending $500 on coffee every
Mhm.
month because that's important to me, then
Yeah.
that's your number one priority. But you have to realize opportunity cost. You are giving up something else. You might not be able to wear that fancy lipstick that you want, or you might not be able to buy that, RH couch that you want, or something else, because
one day.
that goes down on the priority list, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you buy one coffee and then you move stuff around, or you buy two coffees and you make the rest, I have to have my coffee, so I do make my coffee a lot at home. But the Starbucks story, the coffee story is
Uh-huh.
true, because when I moved to Florida, I lived in front of it. There was a Starbucks in front of my
Mhm.
development. And then when I started tracking my money 20 years ago, and I saw how much I was spending at that Starbucks, because it was right there. You come out off the gate and it's right there.
Listen, they're so smart with the app and everything. I don't know if they had it
Yes, they had
for
it.
long because
You get
Starbucks is kind
points,
of
you
new
get
to it.
this.
Yes, so they hook you on it, and it's basically free when you get 250 points.
Exactly.
Like
And
girl
it's not
math,
just
right?
coffee, it's
Mhm.
many things, right?
Yeah.
But that's just my one example,
Mm-hmm.
because I personally have gone through that. And I had to make the decision, okay, well, if I want to, like, that $500 a month took my whole family on vacation.
Exactly.
Or I mean, I wasn't spending 500. I was maybe spending 100 in 21 years ago.
Yeah.
But a hundred
Oh,
dollars was $1,200. $1,200 took my little family on a little cheap cruise.
oh, I love that. See, little adjustments, like
So
just
that
shifting
little
your
adjustment,
priorities, making your
yeah,
coffee at home,
that memory that I had with my boys,
unreplaceable.
irreplaceable. So it was worth not having that Starbucks every
No
day.
amount of Starbucks points can give you that.
No, that's one of the things I prioritize is the memory and the time with my children.
Mm-hmm.
I even prioritize that even before putting all the money in my retirement fund. So for example, I put $200 in my retirement fund for the longest time, but I was putting something. It was not the number one priority, but it was part of the priority list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that $200 is 150,000 today.
There
That
you go.
shows you gotta have it on your list.
Well, when you ask people about their regrets, they never say, I regret that I didn't make more money. They always say, like you said, about memories. Like, I regret I didn't spend more time, more quality time. So it's always about prioritizing that and realizing that money, we're not talking about money on this podcast, we're talking about wealth and freedom. And that's exactly what you said. That was the freedom to take your family on vacation. And these memories you're going to cherish forever.
Yeah, and memories are something that I love, but the one thing is sometimes I see people jet setting every month somewhere.
Oh, yeah, well,
And so I'm going to go back to the whole moderation,
yes.
right? I'm going to go back to the whole moderation. That's why I talk about the priority list. Everything is on the list. But where it is on the list depending on what part of life you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys right now, you're prioritizing the business and
Yeah.
investing in the business.
It's business all day long. We
Yeah.
basically don't prioritize anything else. At
Yes.
this point, we're eating from like these little subscription boxes because we don't even prioritize cooking at home anymore.
Right.
But that part of life that is off balance is going to end at one point,
Right.
and we're going to prioritize something else.
Right.
So that's exactly what you're talking about.
Right now,
Yes.
that's number one, but that doesn't mean it's going to be there forever.
No, oh God,
Right.
please no.
So that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Like for me too, I'm working 7 days a week. I have this going on. I have my condo that we're about to buy. I
Mhm.
have my regular tax business I'm working on. I still have kids. I am working all this time. And I know I have to be focused and disciplined and concentrating on what I want to do, but it will not be the rest of my life. This is priority number one right now. 10 years ago, priority number one was the kids.
Yep. Coming back to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Take a 10 feet look
Yes.
at your life.
Right. So
Not
you
only on your
keep
business.
reassessing your priorities.
Exactly.
Right. So everything's on there. It's just that but there's two that I have to make sure I tell you guys. I'm gonna give
Mhm.
you there's one, actually the most important one for me in terms of money, and I'm speaking money wise now, is that's always on my list is a retirement savings.
Yes.
So I would tell any new business owner who's starting out still and whatever, they should at least be putting a tiny bit of less two coffees if you have to put in a Roth IRA.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that to put that in there, because like I told you, I save $200 a month and I still put money in that account just to see where it's going. $200 a month from what 14 years ago is $150,000.
Yep.
So
Well, I started a little late because I got here at the age of 24, so I gotta catch up.
you did not start late. This is 15 years ago. Remember, I'm almost 50 years old. So it's never too
I
late.
keep forgetting.
Gabby is just tooting my horn because, she in our women's group, we have to tell you about our women's group.
Oh yeah,
Our women's group range from age 28 to 72.
that's true.
Are we having so much fun with it?
We are. It doesn't matter when we are together. Like it literally doesn't matter. It could not exist.
So that's
It's
the other thing. If
amazing.
you're doing something that you're passionate about and you love, it's not really work, is it?
No,
Even if you're killing yourself, it's not really work.
that's true. That's very true. Because it becomes your entire self. Like I said the other day to my husband, we were talking about, I don't even know what to do on Saturdays but to go to the office.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm complaining because I actually like being with those girls. There.
Right.
I like being there.
Yes.
So that was funny that you mentioned that.
And it's the same with me. There are parts of what I'm doing now that I don't really love, but it's temporary. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, there are so many things that I'm doing that I love that I'm okay to continue doing that and dropping off some of the
Exactly.
things. Same with your
Oh
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's days that you don't want to like go out at all.
And then
There's
there are certain things in the business that you wouldn't want to do yourself that you're doing right now.
oh yeah.
So
Oh,
then,
thank God I delegated HR. That was the worst.
but you used to do that,
Oh, I
right?
used to do everything. I had so many hats, and now I'm
Yes.
learning how to delegate.
You're,
And I'm
and
telling you, I listened to your first podcast, first episode. It's amazing.
with
Ju-
Christina,
Yeah,
right?
with
Yeah.
Christina about
Yeah.
delegating.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I'm on
Yeah.
the other side right now. It's amazing.
Well,
It comes with a lot of hesitancy and a lot of fear, especially
a
in
lot of letting
marketing. Like
go.
a lot of letting go, especially in the marketing department. I was holding on to that so hard, and then I realized holding on to something and not being able to delegate, you actually slowing down your growth.
You're slowing down your growth. Yep. And I think that looking at the whole picture when it comes to that's why with money that's what I'm saying. You got to look at the picture. You just can't have it in your head.
Yeah.
Put it on the paper. Look at the picture because then you're able to see where you need to change and where you want to change, where you
Mm-hmm.
need to change, and wherever you want to go. So looking at it gives you freedom
Mm-hmm.
because now you choose, consciously choose what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's with the business it's the same thing. If you guys are analyzing where you're at, where you want to go, and that type of stuff, that's where the business brain come in. Trust me, I'm sure your husband is great and he's a great doctor, but one of the advice, and I want to hear what your advice would be too, because she got her whole life ahead of her. Okay, like I said, she's like my daughter. But one of the advice that I give to new business owners, you can be great at what you do, right? Like your husband is a great doctor
Yes,
and it's specialized and whatever. That does not mean that you're going to be great owning your own business
that's
or
very
running
true.
your own business because that's actually a different career. If you're let's say a doctor and you want to open your own place, I have had doctors that open their own place and they mess it up totally. They mess it up totally. They're still like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I have to say, and you guys can comment on this, I might get hate mail from doctors. Um, is doctors have a big ego.
Listen, I was thinking about that ego the whole time we were talking. I'm like, it's probably the ego that got in the way. And I'm not referring to my husband because I
Of
could
course
not
not.
say that. I could not say that about him. This is like how
I've
humble
met
he
him. He
is.
is
It's
very
yeah.
humble. Yeah.
He is. He's the exception of the rule in that department,
Hmm.
particularly. But when we
Not
think
all
about
departments, just that one.
because when we think about doctors, we immediately you think egos, right?
I've
So
seen it. I've had doctors like I'm trying to teach them. Oh no, I can do my own QuickBooks. Oh no, I can.
exactly.
I know it's all in my head. I know, I know, I know.
Because
So
they're the
if you
smartest.
know, why the heck am I here? Like you gotta open. That's the other thing, right?
Well, you could tell them, like, let's say it's a, I don't know, heart doctor. Would you let anesthesiologist perform a surgery on your heart? No. But at the same token,
But
would
he
you flip?
knows. He went
He
through
knows, right? He
his
went through medical
rotation on that.
school. He could, but like you never want a doctor to put your IV in the hospital, and people always ask for a doctor. You
That's
never want to ask for a
true.
doctor. You ask for a
No.
nurse because
You
that's what
ask
they.
for a nurse or a phlebotomist. They're the ones that do that
Exactly.
all day.
So coming back to delegation, like opening your own business, you have to realize your weaknesses and your strengths.
Right.
Some stuff is just not your cup of tea, and it's okay.
So how would you, as a new business owner, because you guys have been in business for about 3 years now,
Yes.
you've done very well in trying to get your business go. I mean, I've seen you in the last year, like blossom. I cannot wait to see where else you guys are going. But you've just been like,
We have themes for each year. 2024 was getting our house in order because that was a year of great changes. But this year is becoming a world class organization, and we're steering towards that direction. So I'm very excited where it's gonna take us.
I'm excited too. We're gonna
Can't wait.
follow. Um, so what advice
Mm-hmm.
would you give to young people
Mm-hmm.
not having an entrepreneurial mindset, because I think an entrepreneurial mindset is different than having your own business,
Yes.
right? So I think of an entrepreneurial mindset as someone who's versatile, who's willing to learn, who's willing to think outside of the box, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you just opening a business does not mean that you have an entrepreneurial mindset.
No.
What advice would you give to someone who, I actually would like for two advice. What advice would you give to a young person who eventually wants to
Mm-hmm.
open their own business? And then, secondly, if the person digs deeper and they do have an entrepreneurial mindset,
Mm-hmm.
what are the two different advice would you give to those two different people? It might be one person with the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but what would you say?
So to the person that is eventually gonna open their own business, right? To the young person that might be opening their own business in the future. Let's say you're in high school or middle school. Hell, you're 8. Okay. Learn from that moment on. Learn how to be an excellent problem solver. Because I feel this is my days right now, problem solving. Every day, ever since I opened the business, when the problems comes at you from different directions, different types of problems, you have to be able to do it quick and make decisions fast. So problem solving is definitely on top of my list. And it's not that, sometimes you're presented with a problem that is very difficult and complicated, right? It's like, what do I do right now? You have to sit down, reset, think, dissect this problem. You gotta solve it because you're not gonna move to another job, to another direction if that problem is still there. It refers to everything when it comes to owning a business, like the little problems. AC went out. Hell, I need to fix it in 5 minutes because I have 30 patients coming this day. So little things like that. It seems so simple and so trivial when I say that, but it's also such a valuable skill because I saw a lot of people crumble when they are presented with the littlest
So why
inconvenience.
do you think they crumble?
Hmm. That's a good question. There's a lot of it is personalities because different people react to problems, to challenges differently when they are presented with one. But you can train yourself. I used to be terrified of things, and then you just train yourself not to persevere through that.
Okay, so I have a saying for that. So I'm going to
Yeah,
kind of tell you
perfect.
about that one, right? So one of the things that as I grow, I learn is I learn to accept all the things about me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like me not liking to wake up early in the morning. So
I
I've
accepted it a long time ago.
so
It's just
I
what
learned
it
to
is.
accept everything about me, right? Whether the good things, the bad things, or
Yeah.
whatever. That doesn't mean that I don't want to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm forever wanting to change that about me,
I
right?
don't think we can change that.
No,
There's so
but you
many
can
studies
work
of
on it.
a
But
little bit.
you can train
I
yourself.
changed it to
Remember,
7 a.m.
yes,
Okay, now I wake
exactly.
up at 7 sharp. And it's
Exactly.
annoying. I want to sleep a little longer.
But we know that this is something we want to change, right? So the first thing I think is when you accept certain things,
Mm-hmm.
then you learn how to deal with it, right?
Yes.
When these things are coming about, you understand who you are, you understand yourselves, you understand what your initial reaction is, and then you
Mm-hmm.
decide. It's the same thing with money,
Yeah.
right? I'm always going to come back to money. Is once you see what it is and you understand what it is, you decide whether you want to accept it or not,
Yeah.
or you want to change it. So you decide if you want to spend the $500 on coffee or if you want to change
Pour
it.
coffee.
Pour
Pour
coffee.
coffee drinkers today. Don't
But
feel bad.
don't feel
Like you can
bad.
drink your coffee, okay? It's okay to
Just
treat
maybe make
yourself.
it on the Keurig once in a while. um so so I think the problem, so what I'm hearing is, you know, opening your own business comes with many challenges just in life. So it's not about the challenges that comes to you, it's how you handle the challenges. That's what I hear you saying.
That's correct. Yes. It's how you handle them.
It's how you handle.
Because people tend to go into full panic mode when
Yes.
challenges arise on her. And
And what does
that's
that do?
nothing.
Nothing.
It does
It
nothing.
makes you
And
worse. It makes you anxiety. It makes you this.
it just makes everything worse. That's why I
Yes.
always say when you come to me with a problem, you better come with 3 possible solutions because I will not entertain just people coming at me and, hey, this is
Bitching
not
and
working.
moaning.
Yeah, this is not working. And looking at me, I'm like, okay, it's not working. So what? What now?
Right.
Like I always invite them to have a conversation. Like,
Right.
what do you think we should do about it if it's
Right.
not working? Like, what is your view on things? And they stunt. They don't know what to say. They thought they're just gonna. It's kind of like a kid comes in with a problem to the
Mommy
mom, and
fixed
then
my boo boo.
yeah, and mommy fixes it, right? And it's done. And some business owners do that too. They fix stuff for their employees, let's say, because then we go into delegating again, right?
Mhm.
Like once you delegate it, it's natural that people are gonna come with problems, but
Right.
you don't have to necessarily solve it for them because then why did you delegate in the first place?
You know, I actually think we're gonna have to use that at Wow. So
Well,
I
you guys gotta learn how to delegate.
yes, Jen. If you're watching this podcast, Gabby just gave us some advice. We got to work on it. Um, we I agree, and I use that in my life with my kids. I use that in my life with my team. Because we're always brainstorming, we're always working on things, and but I tend to babysit the ladies a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's gonna be what I've learned from you today is that and I'm the same way. I want feedback. I don't want criticism.
Yeah.
Criticism is coming to me with a problem and no
Counterproductive.
solutions. Yes, it's totally counterproductive. I want feedback. Give me feedback, and that feedback has to always come with what can we do better? What can we do
And
differently?
can be crazy ideas, but let's brainstorm.
We're
Let's
brainstorming on it,
together.
right? You're
Yeah.
bringing these ideas. We're talking about each other. It might not work exactly how what you're saying, but then it might, what you say and what I say, what she said, bring it all
And then
together. Yeah.
boom, you have a solution.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation today.
I did very much so. Was it already overtime? Oh boy.
Oh, it's all right. We're good because we are all about talking. We're all about, you have no idea. We've already
We
spent
could
our
have. We
time.
already spent an hour before that podcast
Yeah,
talking.
exactly.
So.
Well, thank you. And we are going to have you come back and we want to see what the success of the business is and how it's going. I'm personally excited. Aesthetic medicine.
Aesthetic medicine and functional
Aesthetic
medicine.
medicine is here to stay. And Gabby, her husband, her partners, they are doing really good here in Wellington, Florida. And we are going to put all of her handles in the podcast. So just in case you guys live in the area or you're visiting the area, you can visit Gabby. You can always text me, and I will always put you in.
And go
Contact.
follow Sharon because what she's doing this year, 2025, is your year. The Modern Savvy CPA and Get Wealthy with Me. I mean, that's such a great idea, and I'm honored to be one of the first people that you invited here because I think your message and what you've been preaching for the longest time to me, we've been having conversations, it has to get out there, and that's the best way to do that. And I'm so proud of you. That space
Aww,
is
she's
beautiful.
swelling my head.
The space is beautiful. You guys can't see it very well, but they did a good, amazing job, and I can't wait to be back and can't wait to get
See
wealthy
where
with
else
you.
we're going, right?
See where else
Yeah,
we're
we're gonna
going.
get wealthy together, and in many ways, in heart and
Yes.
soul and bank account and
That's right.
freedom is the main one,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, the wealth of freedom.
I love it.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.